What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well today. And we have another episode of Rival Watch to do here because we've got a couple other teams in this division that are making some interesting moves. I already talked about the 49ers a little bit on this channel, talking about some of the issues they're having at quarterback and the way they chose to resolve them in the last couple days by naming Purdy the starter and Darnold the backup, and probably now trading Trey Lance for nothing. Now let's turn our focus to the Arizona Cardinals, who have a completely different set of concerns and priorities right now than a team like the 49ers. They are two teams that are looking at things very differently. So, while the 49ers are trying to figure out what move they can make to get them to the Super Bowl this year, you've got a team like the Arizona Cardinals that are trying to figure out the quickest path to Caleb Williams or Drake May this year. So, very, very different set of circumstances here, but nevertheless, we got to keep an eye on what the rivals are doing. And what this particular rival is doing is stripping down. And they are stripping down even more than the other team in the division, the one that I'm not talking about here, the Rams. This Cardinals team is stripping down pretty. It's not quite what you occasionally will see in the NBA, but we're starting to get there. So earlier this morning, the Arizona Cardinals traded former first round pick. Remember, this guy was a top 10 pick. I think he went 8th overall to the Giants for a 7th round pick. You heard that right. They traded a former number 8 overall pick for a 7th round pick from the Giants. So, if you're keeping score at home, you've got the Cardinals doing this. This was supposed to be a bona fide superstar blue chipper for nothing, and we are probably a week or two away from the 49ers trading Trey Lance, a former number 3 overall pick, for nothing. So, feeling kind of good about that as a Seahawks fan, I gotta be honest. I like it when your division rivals screw up that blatantly. But to keep it on the Cardinals here, Isaiah Simmons obviously didn't really pan out the way that the Cardinals were hoping. He really wasn't that great of a player. Although, if you take a look at the last couple of seasons, he was showing some value. He had over 200 combined tackles over the last 2 seasons. He did make some plays. He was a pretty good pass rusher. So there is something here. And you also have to remember that he is only 25 years old. He actually just turned 25. This guy is young. This guy can get better. This guy is versatile enough to play multiple positions. He doesn't play any one position extremely well. But Isaiah Simmons, there's some friskiness here. And I know this is the last year of his rookie deal, and next year he might want an extension. But it's kind of interesting that this is a guy they just decide to give up on when he's this young, this talented, and this is a Cardinals team that is a couple years away in all likelihood anyway. So, yeah, they're giving up on him partially because they know they're going to be terrible this year and probably next year. But at the same time, isn't this the kind of guy you want to maybe keep around just to see if something clicks, because he's still young enough to where if it does click, he's got many great years ahead of him? I've got to figure you'd rather have that than a 7th round pick, unless there's something about this player you really don't like. PFF liked what he did last year, more or less, by the way. It wasn't perfect, but they gave him a great grade for pass rush, good grade for coverage. Overall, solid. His run defense was terrible, according to PFF. But this does not paint the picture to me of a player you should give away for a 7th round pick. So that's definitely interesting that the Cardinals would decide to do that. And that is not the only move they made today that clearly paints the picture of a team that is blowing it up. Because a little later, we got this. The Cardinals are sending offensive tackle Josh Jones to the Houston Texans. The Cardinals sent Jones and a 7th round pick, and they got the Texans' 5th round pick. So they're stocking up on draft picks, but these are not high value picks. So, yeah, the pick helps a little bit. I'm not going to say that it's worthless, but a big part of this trade is just not having Josh Jones. And on some level, I kind of get that because Josh Jones, when he did play well last year, let me be clear about this. He was graded well on PFF in both facets of playing offensive tackle. He was a pretty good player last year for the Cardinals, but he was doing it at left tackle. Previous years, when he was playing on the right side, he was really bad. But the Cardinals already have an expensive left tackle in DJ Humphries, so the thought process here to a certain extent is, well, Josh Jones doesn't fit in on the right side. He can't play on the left side because we already gave a bunch of money to DJ Humphries, so therefore we should trade him. Even if we can only get a little bit back, that little bit is still worth more than having Josh Jones because we can't play him anywhere but left tackle, and we can't play him at left tackle right now. But here's the thing that doesn't really line up to me. DJ Humphries is going to turn 30 soon. Josh Jones just turned 26. If you're rebuilding, if you're blowing it up, wouldn't you rather keep the younger guy, keep the cheaper guy, and try to come up with some sort of exit strategy for the expensive guy? Maybe there's just no way out with him, and you figure, well, he's our guy, and we can re-sign him in a couple years either way. Or if we're still terrible, maybe he just leaves because he doesn't want to stick around, whatever. But maybe there's some sort of thought process there of, well, DJ Humphries is so good, we're not worried about him falling off a cliff all of a sudden. He can be part of our next good team. But these are not the guys I would necessarily be giving away for cheap when I'm trying to rebuild. I'm trying to get rid of veterans. So, I don't know. This one's kind of weird to me. I don't know why you'd give up on your younger players when you're going through this rebuild. Now, granted, Cardinals are going to be really bad this year, almost certainly, and they're probably going to be bad for a little while. So you could, to a certain extent, just go, hey, everything must go. Everything that isn't nailed down, get the hell out. But I don't know. These are guys I would have kept. I would have definitely looked to move off of DJ Humphries before I move off of Josh Jones. Just makes sense to me. But either way, you look at the Cardinals' depth chart as of right now. After these trades, by the way, this list was updated for these trades. And they are really getting down to the studs here. They are really getting down to the studs. Remember, Kyler's not going to play for a good chunk of the season, so you can basically cross him off on having a positive impact this year. They still got some veterans, and I'm wondering what might happen here. Hollywood Brown, they just traded for recently. Do they move off of him? Remember, the current regime was not the regime that traded for Hollywood. Or do they keep him around to appease Kyler because Kyler likes him? Or do they just say, well, we're moving off of Kyler after the season anyway, so who even cares about that? Like I said, you have DJ Humphries, but now that the Cardinals have traded Josh Jones, I don't think they're moving off of Humphries, so the plan there confuses me a little bit. And defensively, the only notable veterans they got would really be Buda Baker, and I guess if you want to count him, Zaven Collins, but he's not even really a veteran at this point, but Buda Baker kind of stands out as the one guy on this team who needs to get going. Like, he's a veteran in his prime. He's getting paid a ton of money. There's not a lot he can do on a team that is this talent deficient, so maybe they're planning on moving him next. I don't know. But interesting moves. I like the general idea of what the Cardinals are doing in terms of stripping down. I don't know if those are the guys I would have moved first. I would have tried to move some of the veterans first. The real veterans, like the established big contract veterans, not these guys still on rookie deals who are still relatively young. Let me know what you guys think. Cardinals blowing it up. See you guys later. Go Hawks.